More than 1,000 residents in East Section in Masiphumelele, Cape Town, are trying to rebuild their shacks after a fire gutted their homes in the early hours of Monday morning. The city of Cape Town said the blaze destroyed over 200 structures. Officials found a dead body which was found under corrugated iron sheet during mop-up operations, and another was treated for heat exposure. The community hall and local church have been used for emergency sheltering. Meanwhile, many residents face cold, wet and windy conditions as Cape Town is also hit with the heavy gale force winds. Now, our reporter Masiphumelele joins us live from the Masiphumelele informal settlement. Nasipi, a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. I can see behind corrugated iron sheets, people almost trying to rebuild their lives again. Talk us through exactly what the atmosphere is like there.
Well, following that devastating fire where life was lost yesterday, the people in the east section of Masiphumelele are saying that they will be rebuilding their houses. And unfortunately, yesterday they couldn't start because they were told that the city of Cape Town will be making starter kits available for them in order to rebuild. Many of them are saying that the emergency shelters that were activated yesterday, they did go to, however, necessary things weren't accommodated for them, including blankets and food. So many of them had to seek shelter at friends and relatives in the area. And today, many of them are out now and are currently rebuilding. And many of them are actually saying that the reason for the fire is because in 2015, in December, there was a big fire that occurred in this area. And again, there, about 1,000 shacks, or rather 1,000 people were displaced. And since then, there hasn't been any electricity in certain parts of Masiphumelele on this side, in the wetland area, and they attribute the fire to the lack of electrification in this area.
I can see that people behind you are really working hard to piece their lives back together. And of course, judging from the way that your hair's moving, the weather there, the gale force winds cannot be ignored. What impact is the weather having on those trying to piece their lives together again?
Well, we are expecting a cold front and heavy rains, cold, wet and windy weather in the Cape. And many of them are trying to, as basically said earlier on, that they want to put up their structures before the heavy rains pour because they know how cold it gets and they cannot go back to the community hall and the local church. As I mentioned prior, that they weren't really accommodated for, as many of them who have lost their homes, lost everything there. So they do not have any blankets, and saying that going back to the hall where blankets are not provided for is not an option for them. Rather, they would stay here and rebuild their homes before the rains hit this part of Cape Town.
I can see that there are also young children who've been affected by this deadly blaze. And in terms of what government officials have had to say, has there been any word or intervention from them?
Well, while I explain that, I'll just ask that Ndru just shows you what is currently happening. The city of Cape Town did say that they had notified SASSA and relevant departments to intervene and assist, including Home Affairs. However, the community leader who we spoke to earlier on said that they haven't been contacted by any government department and they're still waiting. But instead of sitting and waiting and not doing anything, they're going to be putting up their structures in the meantime. And many of the children that live in the area did not go to school because they don't have books, nor do they have uniforms in order for them to attend. So there are a lot of children here, and many of the people that are here are saying that, well, since yesterday they didn't go to work because they've been up since 12 o'clock a.m. Yesterday, trying to put out the blaze and also trying to rebuild and ensure that the material that is left for them nobody steals that material. So many of them have been camping out here, ensuring that their structures don't go missing.
Thank you so much for that update. Our reporter Nasipi Same really just taking us through a horrific incident there. Thousands of residents left homeless, 256 structures destroyed after a fire gutted through that community. As you can see from the visuals, many trying to rebuild their lives again.